No one's perfect. And if any manifestation teacher is expecting you to be like that, or they're telling you they're like that they've radically transformed their entire life. I've changed my entire life. I'm completely different. I wish I had a bullshit button because I had to call bullshit on that. People still have situations that come up in life where their subconscious mind will remind them to stay safe, or remind them of how to feel, or remind them of what to do, or remind them of who to be. And it'll always remind you to go back to the old you that it knows, that it formed, and it doesn't like the new you. So in a situation, a dire situation, so say you have radically transformed, you've killed the old you. Say someone dies in your reality who you're really close to, or you do have a breakup, or you get scammed out of money, or, I don't know, your business fails, something really dire and drastic. Often they are the times where the old you will rear its ugly head. And it's what you do with that moment that matters. It's what you do with those old thoughts that matter. You don't beat yourself up because you're reacting from the old trigger. You understand that it's coming from your old self that your mind knows and trusts and built from the ground up from the age of 7. And it wants you to go back there in moments of crisis, in moments where it doesn't feel safe, in moments where it fears you're going to get hurt, in moments of fear. Someone just died. I've just lost money. My work is failing, etc. It'll freak out. It'll freak out like those of you who freak out over things not happening in your 3D right now. Your subconscious mind kind of freaks out. And its solution is to go back to the old you. And a lot of you beat yourselves up when that happens. But the majority of you haven't even got to that point yet. That's what really worries me. What really worries me is I'm talking like you're all advanced. And you've all got to the point where you've radically transformed your concept of self, your new you, you've killed the old you, and occasionally things come up where you get triggered and your old self might rear its ugly head and you know, okay, that's okay, or you have now the tools to deal with it. From my Subconscious Loz Squad and from my free group, I know that's not 90% of you. From the questions I read that are full of circumstances, from the questions I get on my lives that are full of panic, from the desperate way a lot of you repeat your questions on my lives as if your circumstance is the most important circumstance on earth and only I can answer it. And if I don't answer it right now, your whole fucking world's going to fall in and the sky's going to fall, shows me that you aren't in any small way, even slightly transformed and changed from the old you to the new you. You are still almost 90% eating McDonald's. You're like 90% the old you still. Because if you had radically transformed your concept of self, your questions would change. Likely, you'd probably stop even asking questions. I'll tell you how I know this. There are mentors in my group or manifestation coaches I'm close to who only in a moment of crisis will ask me a question about what to do. I know myself when I've been in a situation where something dire has happened for me in the past, like when my cat went missing, I ended up ringing Sasha and saying, Sash, could you get my mind right for a second? I've got to imagine her back. Just imagine for me and just tell me off. Because I had a moment, a real trigger, like I went right back to the old me where I couldn't for a second imagine. I was like freaked, right? But can you get back to the new you've formed? I can do that more easily as time's gone on. So that was like 2 years ago. Now it's 2 years later, when something really dire happens to me, like happened a couple of weeks ago, I can turn it around quite quickly. I worry the great majority of you aren't even remotely at that point. And that's what this course is about. A lot of you think you know what this course is going to be about. Oh, it's about revision. It's about revising events. That's an infinitesimally small part of what revision is. Come and do the course and you'll understand why things are taking a long time to change, or why you still get triggered, or why you still come from thoughts of the old you, or why you're still plagued by your old thoughts because you haven't actually killed your old self.